Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we will see what is IFrame tag and what are the APIs that are available in Selenium library to handle the IFrame related tags. Then we will see how to work with hierarchical iframes. If we take a look here at the definition of frames tag, it says that it is not supported in HTML5. And what to use instead? We need to make use of iframe tags. So what is a iframe tag? Iframe tag enables us to embed another document within the current HTML document. It has this syntax. The tag name is iframe and the application that we need to embed, we need to pass that in the source attribute. Let us see a demo of this. So if we see there is a iframe tag in the source defined is W3 schools, and then we get to see it as a rectangular box here. Now if we copy this tag and paste it once again, and if we change the host here to Upwork, and if we click on run button, then we see now we have two iframes, and the second iframe has the Upwork external website being pointed here, right? Yeah. So that is how we could use iframes to point to an external application. Let us now take a look at the application which we will use for the demo. So this is the first application, iframe.html. Let us start by clicking on this button, show answer. If we inspect this element, its ID is question underscore India. So let us try to click on this element. Yeah. So if we see, we are saying driver.find element by ID question underscore India, right? So this is the ID question underscore India. And then we are saying click. Let us execute this and see. It should now launch the application. It has launched. It should now try to click on this button. Okay, instead it has thrown this exception. Let us take a look at the exception. If we see, it is saying no such element exception, and if we see, this error is coming from line number 21. So what actually is happening is this particular element which the driver is trying to click is inside a frame and it is not able to click. So let us take a closer look at this. Yeah. So this is the element, and if we see, it is inside this iframe, right? Yeah. It is this inside this iframe. Yeah. So we first, whenever an element is inside an iframe, we first need to switch to that iframe. Only then WebDriver would be able to perform any actions on the web elements inside that iframe, right? So what we need to do, we first need to switch to this iframe. Now, if we take a look at the methods, there are three methods available for switching to a frame. We could either switch by passing index, name, ID, or web element. Let us take a look at them one by one. Let us start with index. If we search on the iframe tag, we get two results. So this is the first result which is highlighted in yellow, and then this is second result which is highlighted in yellow. So these two are not nested. If you see, this is iframe, it is getting closed here, and then this iframe is at the same level at which this iframe is, right? Yeah. So, so this iframe will have index 0 and this iframe will have index 1. Since we need to switch to this iframe, we will pass the index as 0. So now we will uncomment this line. Here what we are doing, switch to frame, and we are passing the index as 0. And after that, we are finding the element, clicking on it. Let us execute this and see. It should work now. Okay, it should now click on this button. Yes, it has clicked, and we see there is no error here as well. Okay, now let us take a look at the second API, how to switch using the name of the frame. So let us comment this out and let us uncomment this. So here we are switching by the name of the frame. The name of the frame is India with I capital. So let us check this. So if we see here, the name of the frame is India with I capital. So if we now execute this program, it should now launch the window, and it should now click on this button, and yes, it is working fine. Okay, so with this we have covered the second version. Let us now switch by the ID. So we'll comment this out, and we'll come uncomment this line, and here we are passing the ID as IN. So let us quickly confirm this. So if we see, the ID of first frame is IN, right? And that is what we are passing. Let us execute this. So it should switch to this frame by its ID and then click here. It has clicked. So this is working fine, right? So coming back, so we have seen by name and by ID. Let us now try the third version, which is WebElement. So what it means is, let us comment this, and let us uncomment these two lines. Yeah. So what it means is, we are locating the frame first as a web element, and that web element we are passing here in the as an argument. So here we are locating the frame by its ID IN. Yeah, so if we take a look here, the ID of the frame is capital IN, right? So we are finding that, and then we are switching to that by passing this web element, and then we are clicking on the question India element, right? So let us try this out. Now launch the browser. It should now click on the button. It has clicked. Okay. So with this, we have seen the demo of this API as well, right? Now let us see parent frame. Okay. So now we have clicked here. So let us now try to click on this button. So this button is inside another iframe, right? And currently the focus is inside this one. Okay, so this is the line to click on the second button. So here we are seeing the button has ID question Japan, and we are clicking on it. Let us quickly confirm this. Yeah, so as we see, the button has ID question underscore Japan, and we are clicking on this button. Yeah, so let us execute this and see. Okay, it should now click on this button. Fine, done. And then here we have got an exception. Let us see what the exception is. So it says no such element, right? No such element exception. So why this is happening is, if you take a closer look at this button question underscore Japan, it is inside this particular frame, right? So we first need to switch to this frame, right? Yeah. Yeah. If you see in this line number 24, we are switching to the frame JP frame, and then we are clicking on the button. So let us try this out. It should now launch the browser, should click on the first question, and it should now, okay, it has thrown an exception. It has again not clicked. So this time we switch to the frame JP, which is having this button. Still we are getting an exception. Yeah. So what is happening is, like, the control was here, right, inside this frame, and after that we have switched to this frame, and we are clicking on this. So what happens is, like, if we want to traverse from one frame to another frame which is at the same level, right, which is not nested, then we first need to come outside in the main window, and then we have to switch to this. We are switching to this, but we are not coming outside, right? So first we have to come outside. And how we come outside? So we need to make use of this API parent frame, which will bring the focus to the original state when the application was launched, that is to this area outside these iframes. And after that, we have to switch to this frame. So how do we do that? We need to make use of this API, parentFrame API, right? Okay. This time we are calling parentFrame. It will come outside. It will come outside, and then it will switch. And then it will switch to the frame, and then it will click on the question. Let us try this out. Okay. So it should now launch the browser, and it should click on these show answer buttons one by one, first here and second. Okay, it has clicked. So as we see, it is working as expected. So let us now move further to hierarchical frames. Okay, let us make use of this application iframe underscore nested HTML. So if we inspect this element, we see this is the element. We see that it is under this iframe with the ID in, and this is the child of iframe with the ID frame2, right? So basically, we have the main HTML body, then we have iframe frame2. Under that, we have a child iframe in, and then under that, we have this button, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we will use this application. Yeah. Okay. Let us quickly confirm. If we see here, its ID of the first button is question underscore India. So we are finding the element by its ID and then we are clicking on it, right? We already know that we first need to go inside the frame and then we need to access the element, right? So if we see here, the first frame is, this is in this particular frame, right? With the ID as IN. So let us switch to this frame and then click on it. So this will not work, but let us try this out. It should now launch the browser, and yeah, so if we take a look at the console, see we are getting an error, no such frame exception, right? Yeah. So what is happening is we are in the main application, and then from the main application, we are bypassing this frame and directly trying to switch to this frame and then click on this element. So this will not work. How Selenium expects is we first have to go to the parent frame and then we have to go to the child frame, right? So now if we take a look at the ID of the parent frame, its ID is frame2, right? So which is this frame2. So if we uncomment this line, so we first switch to the parent frame with the ID frame2, and then we switch to child frame with the ID in, and then we click on this element. Now it should work. Okay, let us execute this now. Now it should click on the button. As we see, it has clicked and we are able to see the answer, right? So this is how we need to approach the hierarchical frames. I hope this is clear. Let us quickly see what we have covered in today's session. So we saw what an iframe is. We saw that the frame tag has been deprecated, and as a replacement it is suggested to make use of iframe tag. Then we saw that iframe tag is used to embed an external application inside a given application. We also saw how to embed two iframes in one application. After that, we saw how to switch to a frame. There are three versions of that. We saw the three versions: by index, by name, or by ID, or by passing the web element. Then we saw the API parent frame, how to switch to the parent frame, right? In the last, we saw how to handle hierarchical frames. We observed that if we have a hierarchy, then we need to traverse from top frame to the inner frame, and then we would be able to access the contents of the inner frame. Well, that's all for this video. I hope this session was useful. Let me know in the comments if you have any queries. I will get back to you soon. Thank you.